Oh, no way.
Yeah. But,
I'm gonna take a load off. I've been on my feet for a while.
Okay.
It hurt. My shoes ain't got no support. Okay. Are you guys ready? Okay. So imagine that you wake up and you're 15 years old and you look at this test and it says positive. You're pregnant with your first child. What are you gonna do? I'm here to tell you a brief story and inform you about adoption and the process that it takes to have be put into the system. First, I'll talk to you about how adoption works. Then I'll tell you why adoption is a great alternative. And thirdly, I'll tell you a little more about my story and just what exactly happened. So, how does adoption work? The first thing that you do is, well, get pregnant. Wow. Second of all, you then go with my birth parents. They both went through an institute called Child Saving Institute that's out of Omaha, Nebraska. There they were set up with a caseworker who then took care of their case through the duration of the pregnancy and helped them find the correct and the best home for me. Secondly, how do birth parents even get to decide, or do they get to decide where their child goes? Actually, yes, they do, if it's an open adoption concept. So when my birth parents were pregnant with me, they got to go through a bunch of, it was the 90s, so essentially profiles, which would now be photo albums, go through them and look through pictures of people and what they're about and their story. And from there, they would pick where they think would be the best home. Not only do they just blindly decide through pictures if I get to go stay somewhere for the rest of my life, but they do get to go visit while they're pregnant as well, which is exactly what my birth mother did as well. How it pans out from there. So they keep visiting and building this relationship with the adoptive parents, which is what my parents did. And then at the end, once I was born, they called them up in the middle of the night and said, "She's here, come look at your child." And in 2 days' time, I was off living in my new home 2 hours away from Omaha, Nebraska. So why is adoption a great option? Well, did you know 59% of all adopted children are from welfare or poor poverty families? 26% are from out of country, so the adoption stories from Russia or China that you do hear of all the time. And 15%, in my case, are voluntarily relinquished children. This information is from archive.pov.org. So here's my story. So through Child Saving Institute, there's a lot of ways that you can be involved with them. You can become to be a foster parent, or you can go sign up and get a caseworker for your own instance. The effects of my story, I do know my entire birth family, from my grandmas and grandpas to my cousins to my nieces and nephews, because it is an open adoption. So Christmas is extra fun. So with that, I do know more of my medical history. I know more of my family, and it's also crazy to see the benefits that, or like the likeness of my birth parents that I have without being around them very much. I do know that my birth father and I are both ambidextrous, and we both eat the exact same way. And that's 2 forks at the same time. I do have my birth mother's personality as well. She's very friendly and very outgoing, so it's very interesting to just see the differences that you have biologically without growing up with them as well. Did you also know that according to adoptionnetwork.com, there are 400,000 kids waiting to be adopted today, right now in the United States? It's a staggering amount. 2% of people have been adopted, but a third of people have at least considered it. So I'm hoping that maybe if you know somebody who is struggling with infertility, or a young person that is down with child, that you ask them to have them be adopted or look at adoption. I'm very thankful for my story as well, because I know that coming from a lower class of family as well as being voluntarily relinquished, I've been given a lot more opportunity with the family that I'm now with, because they're financially stable and ready and wanting a child. Therefore, they can let me be in activities. I've traveled places, and I even got to grow up with horses too, which is a big bonus. So now that I've told you about how adoption works, why adoption is a great option, and a little bit more of my story, I hope that you're now a little bit informed about adoption and how it can be a very good impact on children and people's lives. Thanks.